I want to go straight to June 20th. This was a meeting at the house, at Michael Jackson's house. This was at the Carrollwood residence where he resided, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we have seen this email that was put up on the screen, and you read for us. That email was sent prior, obviously, to the meeting being scheduled?
Yes.
Yes. Prior to sending the email to Randy Phillips, did you speak to him on the phone about what had happened on June 19th?
No.
So this was just an email that you sent cold, essentially. This is how I feel about certain things that are happening at this particular point in time with regard to the show.
Yes.
And you had said that the meeting that was scheduled at the Carrollwood residence, you found out from your assistant. Did you happen to know whether or not it was Paul Gongaware who scheduled this meeting?
You know, I thought it was, but I'm not certain, sir.
To your knowledge, was this meeting scheduled by Dr. Murray?
It could have been.
Could have been?
I wasn't told who the meeting was scheduled by. I was just invited to the meeting.
It could have been scheduled by Randy Phillips.
It could have been, yeah, right? Yeah.
Would you agree that one of the conversations that you were going to have, one of the reasons for having this meeting was to discuss these missed rehearsals?
Pardon me?
One of the reasons that you were having this meeting, one of the reasons that you understood that you were having this meeting was to discuss Michael Jackson's missed rehearsals.
That wasn't brought up to me.
Well, your email talks about playing tough love, right? Pulling the plug. Was it your understanding that what you're referring to was perhaps some resolution to the problem of Michael Jackson's missed rehearsals?
Yeah, but my comments were based on meetings that probably occurred before this night where Michael was informed that we had to get serious about coming to rehearsals.
You said that the meeting on the 20th was designed specifically, or resulted. Let me change that. The June 20th meeting was not the only meeting that was held at Michael Jackson's house regarding missed rehearsals, correct?
Probably not.
Probably not. Are you guessing? Or
well, I wasn't at another one.
Right. Are you aware of another meeting that was held at Michael Jackson's house?
Not aware of it, but again, most likely there was one. Because I know that Dr. Murray was creating a schedule now for Michael to try to help resolve the problem of Michael missing rehearsals.
Well, you had testified that the schedule that Dr. Murray was creating was as a result of the week before his death. Are you saying that the schedule he was creating was as a result of a meeting before that, before the 20th?
The result of the schedule is to try to help us.
Well, I understand. Let me ask you this. Who asked Dr. Murray to prepare a schedule for Michael Jackson?
I have no idea.
The objection sustained. You partial answers to that. Got you. Thank you. Is it possible that this schedule that was created by Dr. Murray was created weeks prior? Do you know when Dr. Murray was asked to create this schedule?
I don't know if he was asked or if he offered. I just know that it was truly an attempt to try to help write us at a schedule that would work for Michael.
Prior to this June 20th email that was sent to Randy Phillips, had you expressed concern about Michael Jackson's missed rehearsals?
Yes.
And would it be fair that you expressed your concerns earlier than the last week before his death?
Yes.
And these missed rehearsals, these were at the Staples Center and also at the Forum?
I don't believe we started the Staples Center yet, sir. I believe they were from the Forum.
What was your impression, Mr. Ortega, of why Michael Jackson was missing these rehearsals? But you have testified to Michael Jackson's state of mind. Do you think that he was missing these rehearsals just because he was tired or lazy? Did you ever have a conversation with anybody about why he was missing this rehearsal?
Yes.
Who did you have that conversation
I had conversations with a few people about, trying to find out why he wasn't showing up to rehearsals.
One of those people was Randy Phillips?
Yes.
Paul Dongler?
Yes.
Frank Leo?
Probably not Frank.
Mr. Ortega, in your email, when you talk about it would break his heart if we pulled the plug, is this a conversation that you had with Randy Phillips, or that Randy Phillips had with you about pulling the plug?
No, it was based on me, as the director of the production, sir, having real concerns that, real questions as to whether or not we were going to be able to make the goals without Michael.
If the plug had been pulled on Michael Jackson, what impact would it have on him personally?
Well, I think creatively he would have been devastated, I think, if he really wanted to do this tour.
What about professionally?
Professionally, I'm sure it would have not been a good thing.
Michael Jackson, you said you worked on the Dangerous tour with Michael Jackson. And what year was that?
1991.
And you also worked on the History tour.
Yes.
And what year was that?
96, approximately.
To your knowledge, did Michael Jackson have any tours after the History tour?
I know he did perform on a New York engagement. I don't think he had any tours, but I believe that he performed on an occasion, once or twice.
The last time that Michael Jackson had a series of shows, a tour, so to speak, was in 1996?
Was the History tour.
The meeting that you had on June 20th at Michael Jackson's house, you described the conversation that you had with Dr. Murray. Would you consider it adversarial, the conversation with Dr. Murray?
Can you rephrase that, sir?
Were you fighting? Was it adversarial?
No.
Were you?
No.
You mentioned 2 or 3 statements that Dr. Murray said to you, and you said to Dr. Murray. Was there anything else that was said besides those statements you've already testified to?
It could have been.
Do you remember any of those statements?
Well, I just remember that Dr. Murray was saying one thing to me, and what Dr. Murray was saying to me was not exactly what had occurred. And at one point, Dr. Murray looked to Michael, because I think Michael was his source of information, and he was looking to Michael that Michael had said one thing, but in fact I was saying another. And so there was a moment of clarity, which was based around his assumption that I had taken Michael up, not allowed Michael to rehearse, and sent him home, and which I, clarified earlier wasn't the case.
And you were not privy to the conversations that Dr. Murray and Michael Jackson had prior to your arrival?
No.
You do not know what Michael Jackson might have told Dr. Murray about the encounter the night before?
No.
How long was this meeting, Mr. Ortega?
Not long.
Could you estimate for us?
Pardon me?
Would you estimate for us how long?
I would guess that I was in the room for about 10 minutes.
Is it your testimony today that the entire meeting lasted 10 minutes?
The portion of the meeting that I was involved in, because I left before everybody else left, felt brief.
Why did you leave before everyone else?
Because that's all I was called for, was that conversation.
Do you recall talking to Karen Fay? First of all, you know who Karen Fay is, correct?
I do.
And who was Karen Fay?
Michael's hair and makeup artist.
And she was the hair and makeup artist on the This Is It rehearsal?
Yes.
Do you recall telling Karen Fay that you read Michael Jackson? Well, let me finish. You might remember it. That you read Michael Jackson, The Riot Act?
No.
Do you remember telling Karen Fay that directing Karen Fay not to placate Michael Jackson?
I remember Karen Fay being there on the night of the 20th and being as concerned as I was and everyone else that was in that small circle. I remember seeing Karen Fay coming back on the Tuesday.
Non-responsive.
Stay.
Disregard the answer. Refine the question, please. Let me ask you again, Mr. Ortega.
Yeah.
Did you tell Karen Fay not to placate Michael Jackson?
I would never have used that word, sir.
Well, did you tell her not to placate Michael Jackson and used a different word?
I might have told Karen Fay that Michael told me he was taking the reins and that he could use our support.
So the answer is no, you didn't tell her.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that your success was somewhat tied to Michael Jackson's success, and this is it?
Don't understand the question.
Well, if This Is It was a successful show, that would certainly reflect upon you as well as Michael
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
So when you talk about Michael Jackson having a desire to complete This Is It, to do This Is It, you also had that same desire.
Sure.
And would you agree with me that without Michael Jackson showing up to rehearsals, that would impact you personally as well as Michael Jackson individually?
It would impact everyone.
Including you.
It would make it impossible for me to do my job.
And that was important to you doing your job.
That's what I was there for.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
You talked about Michael Jackson being involved in the production of This Is It. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he was not just involved, he was very involved in the production, correct?
Yes.
He wasn't just co-choreographer or co-director in name only. He wasn't an honorary title, right?
No.
He was intimately involved in the decision-making.
Yes.
In fact, you mentioned a particular, was it a 3D effect that he himself had come up with? Is that right? Well, his idea.
I don't know if it was his idea, but it came to me from Michael.
But you had never even seen it used before in a stage show.
No.
That was his idea. Would it be fair to say that he was involved?
That question.
Would it be fair to say that Michael Jackson was involved in all of the effects involved in the show?
Are you talking about 3D effects?
Did he have a hand in all of the effects?
Ideas? Yes, absolutely.
Certainly the choreography.
Yes.
The song.
Yes.
He was the boss.
Yes.
It was his show.
Yes.
And he told you that this was his time. This was it for him. Is that right? And what you understood him to mean by that is he understood the historical significance of what he was about to do.
Yes.
You had mentioned that at the conclusion of these shows, that Michael Jackson was planning movies. Is that right? And at the conclusion of these shows, he was also, you had discussed with him, taking the show on the road, taking it on tour.
He had talked about it, yes.
That was something you had talked about.
But he talked to me about it.
That was his plan.
Yes, it's hope.
On the June 19th rehearsal, would it be fair to say that Michael Jackson's condition scared you?
Yes.
Had you ever seen him that way before?
No.
On any occasion during the rehearsals for This Is It, did it ever strike you that Michael Jackson might have been on drugs? Might have been drugged?
Yes.
Did you have you ever met or personally known a man by the name of Dr. Arnold Klein?
No. Didn't know him, knew who he was, but didn't know him.
How did you know who he was?
Just knew him as a doctor.
You had been introduced to him?
No.
You had heard about him?
Yes.
Can you tell us where you had heard about him?
Yes. 350.
When you first met Dr. Murray, you said that it was at Michael Jackson's residence. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that you had seen him at a rehearsal. At the
Dr. Murray at a rehearsal? Yes. I believe, yes, once.
You did not, you testified you did not believe you saw him at the Staples Center at all.
I don't recall.
But you do remember once at the Forum.
Yes.
Did you have any conversation with Dr. Murray?
Yes, I did.
And did you initiate that conversation?
I was invited to call on Dr. Murray if I ever needed any assistance, if there was any ever problems with the schedule.
And he seemed concerned about Michael Jackson?
Yes.
Did you take him up on that invitation?
Yes.
Did you take his phone number?
Yes.
Dr. Murray at some point made suggestions. Were you part of the meeting where Dr. Murray made suggestions about Michael Jackson's schedule?
He brought those suggestions to me.
And you recall that one of the suggestions that he made is that Michael Jackson should be permitted to have lunch with his children. He should be able to stay home for lunch. And
Yes.
the rehearsals then, at that time, were much earlier than they ultimately wound up being.
No.
Do you recall any conversation with Dr. Murray about the diet that Michael Jackson was on, the foods that he was eating, his particular...
I don't recall a conversation about that, sir.
Tell us, you had said that the rehearsals went from Burbank, Center Stage, to the Forum. And I don't think I heard exactly when you said that move happened. Exactly went to the Forum?
The beginning of June.
Beginning of June. In May, the rehearsals were still at Center Stages?
Yes.
And you told us that at Center Stages, you and Michael Jackson had creative meetings, and I guess you talked about what you were going to have in the show and things of that nature.
Oh, yes.
Was that through May and through April?
Yes, beginning in April and through May.
And as you moved to the Forum, then would it be fair to say that the rehearsals became a little more active? There was show for rehearsals on stage?
Yes.
With Michael Jackson and
More people were incorporated into the body of rehearsals at that time.
And when you moved to the Staples Center, even more things were incorporated into the show, like effects, magic acts.
Yes.
I want to bring your attention to the week prior to Michael Jackson's death, and I'm going to tell you that Monday on that week was June 15th. Now, is that how you remember it?
I don't remember that Monday was June 15th.
Okay. That week of June 14th, June 15th, 2009, the rehearsals were scheduled at the Staples Center. Is that correct?
Correct. I don't believe we're at the Staples Center yet, sir. We're at the Forum.
Still.
Yes.
Well, June 15th through June 19th would be Monday through Friday. When did you move to the Staples Center?
I think we moved to the Staples Center like the Tuesday or the Monday or over that weekend. So I'm guessing that because we're going to be at the Staples Center just for 2 weeks, and we were at the Forum for a longer period of time.
Well, the following Tuesday would be the 23rd or 22nd of June.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that the week that Michael Jackson died is the first week that you moved to the Staples Center?
I think so.
So you had exactly 2 rehearsals at the Staples Center?
At the Staples Center, that's what I'm guessing, sir. I don't have a calendar in front of me, and I don't recall exactly, but I think it was a short period of time that we were at the Staples Center.
All right. Now, there was, during these rehearsals, and we've seen this video, these rehearsals were actually videotaped with recorded. Is that right?
These rehearsals were videotaped, yes.
And so were the rehearsals from June 15th through June 19th.
If Michael was there, we were recording per his request. If Michael wasn't there, we didn't necessarily have a video camera.
Well, is your testimony today that if Michael was not there, you simply did not record?
I didn't have any reason to. Michael recorded rehearsals for his own benefit. You know, no one photographed or recorded rehearsals until we had our actual cameras that were going to be used for the IMAG screens, which came late at the Forum or early at the Staples Center. So there were no other people recording other than when Michael requested recording.
Mr. Ortega, after the death of Michael Jackson, you were hired to help edit videotape for the movie This Is It.
Yes.
You were hired by Sony Pictures.
Yes.
And you sat in a room at Sony Pictures for 2 months editing this videotape.
Yeah, we had video footage that was taken interviews of the band and the dancers and the singers that was going to be used for a later behind the scenes of a filming of This Is It in London at some point. So there was that, yes, sir.
And this videotape that you edited, that you reviewed, had date stamps on them. They were labeled by the date.
Yeah. I'm quite sure what you're getting at.
I'm going to sustain the objection. The partial answer is strict disregard. Well, here's what I'm getting at. You reviewed all the rehearsals. You spent 2 months reviewing all the rehearsals. But you don't remember where the rehearsals were had the week before his death?
I believe, as I mentioned to you already, that we were at the Forum until the end of the month and then moved for a week into the Staples.
There is videotape that exists, is there not, of Michael Jackson sitting on a chair with a blanket wrapped around his shoulders? Have you seen that videotape?
I haven't.
You are aware that on June 18th, the day before Michael Jackson did not show up. On June 18th, Michael Jackson missed his rehearsal. He didn't show up. Is that right?
It's most likely, yeah.
Why is it most likely?
But he was missing for a period of about a week. So I'm not exactly sure what day or what date, but he was missing for a period of about a week in that area. So,
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
May I have just a second, Judge?
May I further